This series starts by showing Yi Soo, the son of a rich family, who is known as a troublemaker and often gets into fights at school and outside. Because of this, Yi Soo has been kicked out of school several times. He also doesn't like studying, so he always gets the lowest grades in school. Yi Soo is very arrogant and has many enemies. One of them is Dae-hee, the son of a gangster who makes his men exercise a lot if they make mistakes. One night, Dae-hee came back to his gang's headquarters all beaten up, which made his father angry. Dae-hee's father and his men went to find Yi Soo, who had beaten up Dae-hee. They went to the karaoke place where Yi Soo was hanging out. Dae-hee's father turned off the music and said he would get back at Yi Soo for hurting Dae-hee. Yi Soo calmly said that it was Dae-hee who had challenged him to a fight. When Yi Soo tried to leave, the gang members tried to stop him, but Yi Soo easily beat them all. Because of this, Dae-hee's father offered Yi Soo a high-paying job, but Yi Soo refused and said his money would last for 7 generations. On the other hand, 2 high school students named Han Badang and her friend Mi-sol went to the karaoke place and were shocked to see some gangsters lying on the ground after being beaten by Yi Soo. Badang is a smart, kind, and pretty student. She is the president of the student council at her school. Even though her family is poor, Badang studies at Balhae High School, one of the best schools in Korea, and she always gets the top grades. One day, Yi Soo, who is the son of the owner of Balhae High School, transferred to the school. This happened after his family's lawyer, Hwang, met Yi Soo and told him that his father, Na Shan, had died in an accident. Hwang explained that Na Shan's funeral was kept secret to avoid causing trouble. When Yi Soo heard that his father had died, he didn't show much emotion because his father never cared about him. Hwang also gave Yi Soo a will that said he would inherit Balhae High School if he agreed to attend and graduate from the school. After thinking about it, Yi Soo agreed. This made him a student and the temporary president-director of Balhae High School, giving him the power to manage the school. On his first day of school, Yi Soo was put in a class with the best students. He wanted to impress everyone, including Badang, by saying he would rule Balhae High School. To his surprise, his classmates praised his bravery, even though he meant to challenge the strongest student. Soon after, Yi Soo was told to sit next to Badang. He asked her who the most popular student at Balhae High School was. At that time, Badang explained that no one at the school cared about popularity. Even Bu Ro-woon, their handsome classmate, wasn't considered popular. While they were talking, another student named Suk Ho-gyu came over and offered Yi Soo some bread to be friends. But Yi Soo rudely refused and pushed the bread away. Seeing this, Badang got angry and challenged him to a duel on the school roof. Yi Soo accepted the challenge, but when he got to the roof, he found out that the duel wasn't a fight but a quiz, with Hwang as the judge. At that time, Yi Soo, who never studied, lost to Badang. This made Ro-woon smile, which made Yi Soo angry, and he wanted to challenge Ro-woon to a fight. Luckily, Hwang stepped in and talked to Yi Soo. There, Hwang told Yi Soo that violence was not allowed at the school. Instead, students would compete in quizzes to show who was the smartest. Yi Soo's father wanted the school to be a safe place for all students to learn. However, Yi Soo wanted to ruin the good name of Balhae High School. Soon after, Yi Soo went back to class and then, he accidentally bumped into Sun Eun-bin, a quiet student who was playing on her cell phone while walking. Even though it was her fault, Eun-bin didn't apologize and quickly walked away because she felt embarrassed. Not long after, Ho-gyu came up to Yi Soo again and asked to be friends. Yi Soo finally accepted Ho-gyu as a friend because he thought he could get information about Badang from him. During break time, Yi Soo was surprised by the fancy menu in the school cafeteria with lobster as the main dish. Shortly after, he talked about the pros and cons of having such an expensive menu, but the cafeteria staff didn't mind as long as the students got quality food. When he ate the food, Yi Soo seemed to really like it. Unfortunately, Yi Soo still wanted to change the menu. He changed his voice and called the principal, asking to change the food menu in the cafeteria. Because of this, Balhae High School's food menu was changed to a military-style menu, with a soldier even watching the students while they ate. Many students didn't want to eat, including Sayara, who came from a rich family. Using her money, Sayara invited a chef from her family's hotel to make an expensive lobster meal for her close friends. At the same time, Eun-bin, who was often bullied, walked by Sayara. This made Sayara angry, and she mocked Eun-bin for being poor. At that time, Balhae saw this and warned Sara that she would report her to the school disciplinary committee. Sara, instead of stopping, insulted Balhae's family too. But there, Balhae stayed calm, which annoyed Sara even more. Meanwhile, Eunbin felt so worthless from all the bullying that she went to the school roof to jump. Just as she was about to jump, Yi Soo appeared and told her it would be a mistake. He said many people wish they could go to a prestigious school like her. Hearing his words, Eunbin decided not to jump, but she accidentally tripped and fell onto Yi Soo. Balhae and Yi Soo saw this happen as they were also on the roof after hearing Eunbin scream. Before going to the roof, Balhae and Yi Soo were talking about Sara's arrogant attitude. Yi Soo mentioned that Sara had become more sensitive after Rowoon rejected her because he didn't like how she judged people by their family background. Back in the present, news about Yi Soo saving Eunbin spread quickly at school. When Yi Soo came to class, his classmates greeted him like a hero, which made him feel uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Yi Soo's plan to change the cafeteria menu worked, so he moved on to his next plan. He hired a strict ethics teacher. Many students felt stressed, but strangely, Balhae liked the teacher's method because it taught her not to always give in to others. On another occasion, Yi Soo had another plan to distract students before exams. He turned the library into a nightclub and even invited a DJ, which made many students have fun. One day, Eunbin met Yi Soo to thank him for stopping her from doing something reckless. Even though Yi Soo is sometimes rude to others, Eunbin realized that he is actually a good person who cares about others. When Eunbin asked for Yi Soo's phone number, he gave it to her in case she ever thought about doing something reckless again. Not long after, Hwang saw Eunbin leave and went to talk to Yi Soo. He teased Yi Soo about the pretty student he helped. Turns out, Hwang had been secretly watching Yi Soo and the rules Yi Soo was changing. There, he told Yi Soo not to change the school rules too much to avoid problems. He also warned Yi Soo to be careful because Yi Soo's uncle, Na Jun, wanted to take over the position of president-director at Balhae High School. Meanwhile, Dae-hee, the gangster's son, was bragging to his friends that he had beaten Yi Soo. One of his friends said he saw Yi Soo wearing a school uniform, which surprised Dae-hee because he thought Yi Soo had been expelled. While they were talking, they saw Yi Soo walking alone in his uniform. Soon after, Dae-hee and his friends confronted Yi Soo and wanted to gang up on him. At the same time, Balhae and her friends came to help him. Even though Yi Soo told Balhae not to interfere, she didn't listen and fought Dae's friends. To everyone's surprise, Balhae knew martial arts and easily defeated them. After this, Balhae understood why Yi Soo always wanted to show he was strong. The next day at school, Eunbin gave Yi Soo some food and invited him to have lunch with her during break as a thank you for his help. In the teacher's room, all the teachers at Balhae High School were talking about Yi Soo. They said he didn't know any of the subjects well and might fail the exams, even though all the students at Balhae High School were usually very smart. They wondered if Yi Soo got into the school because of the new president-director, but they had never seen him before. In the library, Balhae and her friends used the DJ's music to help them study. They changed the song lyrics to help them memorize lesson formulas. All the students enjoyed this, except Yi Soo, who was still grumpy and not excited about the exams. During lunch break, Yi Soo went to the cafeteria to have lunch with Eunbin. The cafeteria was quiet because of his new rule, so most students chose to eat lunch outside or bring their own lunch. After school, Yi Soo met with lawyer Hwang to complain about the graduation system at Balhae High School, which was different from other schools. At other schools, students could graduate if they had good attendance, but at Balhae High School, students had to pass exams to graduate. Yi Soo then realized why his father left Balhae High School to him is to make him start studying. However, Yi Soo, who was not interested in studying, decided to drop out of school. When Yi Soo was about to leave, his uncle Na Jun saw him wearing a Balhae High School uniform. Unlike Na Shan, Na Jun is known as a reckless man who lives a life his family isn't proud of. As the eldest son, Na Jun was not given any special treatment by his family, so he wants to take Na Shan's wealth. During their meeting, Yi Soo argued with Na Jun and then left, saying he was busy preparing for exams. Seeing how much Na Jun wanted to take over Balhae High School, Yi Soo decided to stay and study because he didn't want his cunning uncle to have that position. Even though Yi Soo was still annoyed with his father for not supporting him in the past. A few years ago, Yi Soo got into a fight that caused Na Shan to be called to the school. Instead of defending him, Na Shan believed Yi Soo was guilty and deserved to be expelled because he did not tolerate violence. Yi Soo felt this was unfair, especially since Na Shan didn't even try to find out why he was fighting. Back in the present, Balhae saw Yi Soo walking sadly in a bookstore. She approached him to give him an umbrella because it was going to rain. Yi Soo didn't seem to care and walked away, making Balhae chase after him. The next day at school, Yi Soo started to notice Balhae studying next to him. He remembered how cheerful and fun she was outside of school, like the night before. When class began, Ms. Beck reminded all the students about the upcoming midterm exams and encouraged them to focus on studying. As the top student, Balhae was busy doing practice questions, which made Yi Soo curious about her dreams and why she was so determined to get first place. Then, Balhae told him that she wanted to become a doctor with a high salary to help her family's finances. While they were talking, Balhae and Ro-woon, who were part of the student council, were called to the principal's office. At that time, Seara's mother, Hyobin, was protesting against the new policy at Balhae High School. She didn't like the changes to the lunch menu and the new ethics teacher, saying they didn't meet the standards of an elite school. And Hyobin, who is the school's biggest funder, complained that students from poorer backgrounds were hurting the school's image and that wealthier students should get more privileges. Upon hearing that, Balhae humbly apologized, while Ro-woon disagreed with Hyobin. He said that wealthier students like Seara already got special treatment, which allowed her to bully others and hide behind strong legal support. Then, Na-jun entered the room, introduced himself as a candidate to replace the president-director of Balhae High School, and agreed with Hyobin's opinion about the school. At that moment, Yi Soo was alone in a corner of the school when he heard Seara and her group bullying Eunbin. Yi Soo peeked and saw Seara taking out all of Eunbin's makeup and recording it to upload on social media. Seeing that, Yi Soo didn't stay quiet. He went over to Seara and her friends and recorded their mean behavior towards Eunbin. Soon after, Seara and her group left, and Yi Soo helped Eunbin put her makeup back in her pouch. But then, Eunbin suddenly hugged him and cried, and he tried to calm her down. To cheer up Eunbin, Yi Soo took her to a cosmetic shop after school and bought her some new makeup. Balhae and Ro-woon, who were walking home together, saw them getting close in the shop. A few days later, Yi Soo made a new rule to change coding lessons to gaming, saying it was to follow the latest trends. Feeling confident, he joined the class because he often played online games. But when he played against Balhae, Ro-woon, and Yi Soo, who were beginners, he got the lowest score. Because of this, Yi Soo had to treat his friends to a meal after school. That evening, Balhae and the others took Yi Soo to a simple tteokbokki shop. Yi Soo was surprised because he thought they would go to a fancy restaurant. When he found out the shop belonged to Balhae's mom, Yi Soo didn't say anything and just ordered from the menu. At the same time, the principal invited some popular and competent teachers to have dinner with Na-jun. Na-jun wanted to win their support to become the president-director of Balhae High School. He promised that he would improve the school's image. After some teachers left, Na-jun tried to persuade Mr. Yoon and Ms. Beck, whose contracts were ending soon, to support him. Ms. Beck didn't agree with Na-jun's plans, so he ended up talking more with Mr. Yoon, who seemed easier to convince. Another day, Hwang worried about Yi Soo playing games all the time, even though the exams were coming up. At that time, Hwang invited Yi Soo to take private lessons at a place he knew. When they arrived, Yi Soo was surprised to find out that Balhae would be his tutor. Hwang explained that he knew Balhae's family because he had volunteered as her tutor. Following Na Shan's suggestion that even kids from poor families like her should have a chance to study and succeed. After Hwang left, Balhae began teaching Yi Soo some lessons from school. She also told Yi Soo about the good things Na Shan had done for her family. But there, Yi Soo got annoyed and told Balhae not to trust people who seem nice because they might just be pretending. However, she reminded him to look at himself before judging others. The next day, rumors spread about the president-director of Balhae High School being a handsome man because of an anonymous post by a student. When Balhae saw the post, she thought the president-director had uploaded it to get the student's attention. On another day, Yi Soo went back to studying with Balhae because he didn't want to fail his exam. Without them knowing, Ro-woon noticed them getting closer. Feeling jealous, Ro-woon invited Yi Soo to play basketball that evening and asked about his relationship with Balhae. Yi Soo told Ro-woon not to worry because he and Balhae were just study friends. Another day, Yi Soo was looking at social media and was surprised when Eunbin caught him looking at a photo of Batang. Eunbin said it wasn't strange for him to like Batang, who was outgoing and popular. But she reminded Yi Soo not to get too attached to Batang because she only focused on her school achievements. A few days after Batang helped Yi Soo study, he made a lot of progress in several subjects and could even solve problems on the blackboard correctly. On the day of the exam, Batang's mother gave her a bottle of peppermint tea to help her do well. During the exam, all the students, including Yi Soo, took the exam questions seriously. Meanwhile, Na-jun met with the principal to discuss their plan to stop Yi Soo from becoming the official president-director of Balhae High School. Na-jun also told the principal to keep an eye on Yi Soo at school. Back in the classroom, before the next exam started, Batang drank the peppermint tea her mother gave her. But while she was working on the exam, she suddenly fainted. Yi Soo panicked and quickly took her to the hospital. The doctor said she was just exhausted and needed to stay in the hospital to rest and recover. When Batang woke up, she was worried about missing her exams. Her mother tried to calm her down, telling her not to worry. But Batang still felt sad because she had studied hard to get the best scores and graduate with high honors. When the exam results were announced, Sara had taken the top spot, which Batang usually held. Since Batang didn't finish the exam, she ended up at the bottom of the rankings. To celebrate, Sara threw a party with her friends. During the party, she said that Batang didn't deserve to be in first place because her family was poor. That same night, Batang, who had recovered, helped her mother deliver an order of tteokbokki. Unexpectedly, the order was for Sara, who wanted to embarrass Batang. Annoyed by her insults, Batang tried to return the money Sara had paid to her mother. But she didn't have enough money, so Sara and her friends teased her again. Soon after, Ro-woon arrived because Sara lied to him, saying Batang was drunk. Turns out, Sara had set a trap to make it look like Ro-woon came to her party on purpose, causing Batang to misunderstand. Back at the shop, Batang's mother started to worry because Batang hadn't returned, so she called her. Batang, who was sitting alone, lied and said she was with a friend. At that time, Yi Soo saw her and approached her, asking why she was alone. Usually strong, Batang finally cried and told Yi Soo what Sara had done to her. She said that if she were from a rich family, maybe she and her mother wouldn't be looked down on. While eating the tteokbokki that Sara had ordered, Yi Soo reminded Batang that life always has two sides. Even though Batang was born into a simple family, she is lucky to have a mother who cares about her, unlike Yi Soo, who lost his mother a long time ago. The next day, Yi Soo met the principal to request a re-exam for Batang, who had been hospitalized. However, the principal refused and told him not to interfere. After the meeting, Yi Soo felt something was wrong, especially since Batang mentioned that the hospital found sleeping pills in her drink. Then, he asked Hwang to check the surveillance camera in front of the classroom. They saw Yoon leaving Batang's class with a drink bottle that looked exactly like hers. Yi Soo then called Yoon to meet him on the school roof. Yi Soo threw the drink bottle and said he knew Yoon had switched Batang's drink with one mixed with sleeping pills. He also said he had video evidence from the surveillance camera. Hearing this, Yoon didn't seem to feel guilty and tried to strangle Yi Soo. Soon after, both Yi Soo and Yoon were called to the principal's office because a student reported seeing them fighting on the roof. Meanwhile, Na-jun, who heard about the incident, came and almost hit Yi Soo without listening to his explanation. Yi Soo, feeling frustrated, said he regretted being born into a wealthy family with a bad personality, as he believed this bad temper was passed down to him. Returning to the incident on the school roof, Yi Soo, who was being strangled by Yoon, tried to fight back by hitting him. Unfortunately, two female students saw Yi Soo hit Yoon, so Yoon pretended to be the victim. In the present, Yoon blamed Yi Soo for hitting him and making his nose bleed. The two students who saw the incident supported Yoon's story. There, Yi Soo tried to explain that he was defending himself because Yoon strangled him first, but the principal and Na-jun didn't believe him. In class, Sara scolded Batang and accused her of asking the principal for a re-exam, even though Batang didn't know anything about it. Meanwhile, Hyobin met Na-jun to express her disappointment about the re-exam for Batang. Hyobin thought it was unfair to Sara, who was planning a party to celebrate being ranked first in the school. Na-jun apologized and regretted trusting Yoon to handle things without supervision. During a previous dinner with the teachers, Na-jun secretly gave Yoon a task to make Batang fail her exam so Sara could be first in the class. Na-jun believed that elite schools like Balhae High School should be dominated by wealthy students. To persuade Yoon, Na-jun promised a big reward, which tempted Yoon, who had a small salary, to accept the mission. On the day of the exam, Yoon secretly switched Batang's drink with one mixed with sleeping pills. This caused her to lose her top position. However, Yi Soo found out about his actions, making the situation more complicated. In the present, Na-jun tried to solve the problem by allowing the school to retake exams for the students. But in a meeting with the teachers, Na-jun asked them to make sure the top-ranking students were from rich families, not those receiving social assistance. Baek disagreed with Na-jun's plan, believing that some students deserve top ranks even if they weren't wealthy. After the meeting, Na-jun told Yoon to hide for a while until the problems were resolved. Yoon asked about rewards and compensation, but Na-jun refused to pay him, saying he had failed his task. On the day of the re-exam, Baek entered her room and suddenly screamed in fear. Yi Soo and Batang, hearing the scream, ran to the teacher's room and found Yoon had hanged himself. Because of this incident, the students couldn't retake the exam peacefully. Soon after, Yi Soo was questioned by the police because he had fought with Yoon. Also, Yi Soo's name was mentioned in Yoon's last message. Yoon felt his teaching career was ruined because Yi Soo had footage showing Yoon swapping Batang's drink with one mixed with sleeping pills. Strangely, when the footage was shown to the police, it appeared to be edited. Rumors spread among the students about Yi Soo beating Yoon on the school roof and being expelled from his old school for bullying. Many students began to look at him with suspicion and blame him for Yoon's death. Yi Soo got angry and wanted to confront the students talking about him, but Batang stopped him because she still believed he was innocent. That night, while Yi Soo was resting, some people broke into his house to kidnap him. At that time, he couldn't fight back and was taken into a car with his head covered. On the way, Yi Soo pretended to faint. When the kidnappers let their guard down, Yi Soo fought them and managed to escape. Unfortunately, he fell and lost consciousness again. When Yi Soo woke up, he found himself in the hospital with Batang. Before he fainted, he had managed to contact Batang for help. After leaving the hospital, he wanted to stay at a hotel, but Batang's mother insisted he stay at their house until it was safe. Hwang agreed with this idea to keep Yi Soo hidden from the kidnappers. At Batang's house, Yi Soo was welcomed by Batang's mother, who cooked delicious food for him. That night, Yi Soo and Batang, who were in separate rooms, chatted through the thin wall. Yi Soo felt grateful to stay at her house, where he could experience the home atmosphere he had long missed. The next morning, after breakfast, Yi Soo and Batang went to school. When they arrived, most students ignored Yi Soo except for Rowoon, Misol, and Hogyu, who didn't believe he was responsible for Yoon's death. Hearing this made Yi Soo feel calmer, knowing he still had friends who cared about him. Later, Yi Soo got good grades and was happy he didn't have to attend remedial classes. At the same time, Rowoon was glad to see Batang back in first place. On the other hand, Sara felt frustrated and went to the school roof to smoke, but Rowoon suddenly approached her. Sara admitted that she regretted not continuing her studies abroad and instead followed him to Balhae High School to be close to him. At that time, Sara tried to convince Rowoon to take revenge on Yi Soo for making the school strange, knowing that Rowoon didn't like Yi Soo and Batang being close. However, he refused, disappointing Sara, who then left. At the karaoke place, Yi Soo ran into Daehee in the restroom and immediately questioned him about the thugs who tried to kidnap him. Daehee admitted that he didn't order the attack, but he knew that his father had met with Na-jun. Daehee suspected that Na-jun might have used his father's men to harm Yi Soo. Later, when Daehee was about to return to the karaoke room, he overheard his friends talking about him. He realized they were not true friends and only used his wealth for fun. This made Daehee angry, especially because they compared him to Yi Soo, who was better at fighting. Meanwhile, when Yi Soo returned to Batang's house, he was surprised with a birthday party from Batang and her mother. This made Yi Soo feel happy and sad because his mother died in an accident on his birthday after attending an event at his school. Yi Soo never got birthday surprises from his parents, who were always busy, so he usually only celebrated with Hwang. On another day, Na-jun wanted to take control of Balhae High School and convinced the teachers to agree on a motion to dismiss the current temporary president-director. Hoping to take the position himself, After much persuasion, Na-jun succeeded. When the announcement about the dismissal was posted, Sara was happy because Na-jun got the position. Ba-dang and others felt bad about it because they thought some of the temporary president-director's rules, even though his identity was unknown, were good for the students and helped them grow. At the same time, a student in a Balhae High School uniform rode a motorbike in the schoolyard. Surprisingly, it was Dae-hee, the new transfer student. When Dae-hee introduced himself to the class, he arrogantly said that he would rule the school, just like Yi Soo had said when he first arrived. During break time, Yi Soo knew that Dae-hee had transferred to Balhae High School because he bribed his way in. Soon after, Yi Soo approached Dae-hee to ask why he moved. Dae-hee casually said that his old school wasn't fun after Yi Soo left. Meanwhile, Eunbin finally got the courage to wear makeup in public after Yi Soo encouraged her. Yi Soo, who was at the cosmetic shop to buy a lipstick gift for Ba-dang, was surprised to see how pretty Eunbin looked. Then, they walked home together, discussing the lipstick gift for Ba-dang. Shortly after, Eunbin reminded Yi Soo that Ba-dang liked Ro-woon, who had been friends with her for a long time. She also shared that she wanted to become a beauty content creator. Yi Soo encouraged her and helped her record videos. With positive comments from internet users, Eunbin became more enthusiastic about her new hobby. Yi Soo then went to the shop to meet Ba-dang, but she wasn't home yet. Seeing him worried, Ba-dang's mother told him to relax because Ba-dang was with Ro-woon. When Ba-dang finally arrived, Yi Soo planned to give her the gift, but she and her mother were busy chatting about a drama they were watching, so Yi Soo decided to wait for another time. The next day at school, Yi Soo tried to give the lipstick to Ba-dang again, but Ro-woon had already given her the same gift. Frustrated, Yi Soo gave the lipstick to Hogyu to give to Mi-sol. In the locker room, Eunbin screamed when she found a mannequin head with graffiti and her father's work name tag in her locker. Turns out, Sara had placed it there to scare Eunbin into stopping her content creation, saying it was inappropriate since her father worked for Sara's family company. Then, Sara threatened to complain to Eunbin's father if she didn't stop, making Eunbin so scared that she agreed to do anything Sara wanted. Later, Ba-dang and Ro-woon were called to the principal's office, where they found Eunbin with her head down. The principal accused Ba-dang of bullying and blackmailing Eunbin. Hearing that, Ba-dang denied the accusations, but Eunbin kept her head down, seeming to confirm everything. Feeling angry and misunderstood, Ba-dang decided to leave the school. Upon knowing that, Ro-woon tried to stop her, knowing she was innocent. However, she said no one would believe her because she was just the daughter of a simple tteokbokki shop owner. From a distance, Eunbin cried as she watched Ba-dang leave, because she didn't want this to happen. Eunbin had been forced to lie about Ba-dang by Sara, who threatened to stop her from being a content creator. After being punished by the school for bullying Eunbin, which ruined her reputation as an honor student, Ba-dang locked herself in her room. She refused to eat or talk to anyone, making her mother worried. Her mother thought that Ba-dang's bad luck was because they were poor. At that time, Yi Soo was also concerned about Ba-dang, knowing that if the problem wasn't fixed, her dream of going to a top university and becoming a doctor would be over. There, Yi Soo promised Ba-dang's mother that he would help Ba-dang get back to school. Yi Soo then met with Eunbin, who was blamed for spreading the rumor about Ba-dang. Eunbin admitted that she didn't start the rumor because it was Sara's plan all along. That evening, Sara and her friends went to a karaoke place to celebrate her success in trapping Ba-dang. Unexpectedly, Dae-hee was also at the karaoke place and tried to approach Sara. Although Sara initially felt uncomfortable with Dae-hee, she eventually warmed up to him and shared many things with him. Meanwhile, Na-jun invited the principal, Hyo-bin, and Baek to have dinner and discuss their success in making Balhae High School an elite school for upper-class students. During the dinner, Baek didn't agree with Na-jun's plan, especially since it meant sacrificing Ba-dang by removing her from the list of top students. The next day, Yi Soo met Na-jun to hand over a petition from students defending Ba-dang. However, Na-jun refused to change his decision to punish her. Yi Soo then gave him a flash drive containing a recording of Sara admitting she was behind the bullying rumors about Ba-dang. Turns out, Yi Soo had secretly asked Dae-hee to get information from Sara about the bullying rumors. Using Dae-hee's charm, Sara admitted that she would do anything to get rid of Ba-dang from Balhae High School. Soon after, Yi Soo went to the principal and showed him the recording. threatening to publish an article in the newspaper about the corruption of Balhae High's top officials if Balhae's punishment wasn't revoked. Yi Soo also discovered that Yoon was actually killed by Daehee's father's men on orders from Na-jun. The principal was involved in this plan by asking Yoon to meet at the school to discuss his cheating. When Yoon arrived, he was attacked by gangsters, killed, and then hanged in the teacher's room to make it look like a suicide. With all this evidence, Yi Soo forced the school to revoke Balhae's punishment. Afterwards, he thanked Daehee, and their friendship improved after being strained for a long time due to misunderstandings. In the past, Yi Soo and Daehee were on a baseball team and played in many matches. One day, Daehee got injured, and Yi Soo tried to help. Unfortunately, he thought Yi Soo was helping out of pity, so he distanced himself from Yi Soo and started hanging out with troublemakers. In the present, Yi Soo meets Balhae and admits he is helping her so she doesn't suffer like he did when he felt alone at his lowest point. Yi Soo explained that he was expelled from school because he was accused of bullying, even though he was actually helping a student who was being bullied. When Yi Soo warned the bullies, they made fun of his father, which made him angry, and he fought them without realizing someone was recording it. When Yi Soo was expelled, he told his father that he was innocent. Na-shan said he knew, and asked him to be patient until the truth came out. After Yi Soo left, Na-shan asked Hwang to investigate his wife's suspicious death because the black box recording of the accident was erased. Na-shan suspected Na-jun was behind the accident. Feeling his life was in danger, Na-shan told Hwang to take care of Yi Soo if anything happened to him. In the present, Yi Soo returns to Balhae's tteokbokki shop and is shocked to see it trashed by thugs who claimed they were ordered by the new building owner, supposedly Yi Soo. There, Yi Soo denied it, but Balhae was already upset and blamed him for her mother's misfortune. Balhae then asked Yi Soo not to come to her house again. The next day, Eunbin found out that Balhae had returned to school and immediately went to apologize to her. Eunbin admitted she was forced to lie because she was afraid of Seorae's threats. Upon hearing that, Balhae felt disappointed with her again. Earlier, Eunbin had lied to Balhae, claiming she had rich parents. When the truth came out, Balhae still accepted her as a friend. However, Eunbin, not wanting to be seen as lower class, chose to stay away from her. Now, Eunbin said she understood if Balhae hated her, but asked her not to hate Yi Soo, who was sincerely trying to help Balhae. Meanwhile, all Balhae High School policies returned to normal, and students could enjoy delicious food in the canteen again. Balhae and others also discovered that Yi Soo was the temporary president-director who had changed the luxury lunch menu to a military-style one. In a meeting to dismiss the temporary president-director, Yi Soo rejected Na-jun's appointment as the new president-director. Before the voting, Yi Soo expressed his concern that Na-jun would convince the directors not to elect Yi Soo, saying he was too young and aimed to destroy the school. Hearing this, Hwang saw that Yi Soo had changed and gave him a brown envelope with a message from Na-shan and a recording of his mother cooking for Yi Soo's birthday. Meanwhile, Baek felt guilty because she had helped Na-jun by keeping quiet about Yoon's death in exchange for a permanent teaching position. Feeling guilty, Baek decided to testify in front of all the school directors about Na-jun's crimes, hoping he would never be elected as president-director. But there, Na-jun tried to convince the directors that the school should be run by experienced people. However, Yi Soo argued that the president-director should ensure equal education for all students, rich and poor. Despite this, Na-jun refused to accept Yi Soo as president-director. Then Hwang revealed evidence that Na-jun was involved in the plan to kill Yi Soo's parents in a car accident. Hwang also revealed that Na-jun had embezzled foundation funds and committed other crimes. Because of this, Hwang decided to dismiss Na-jun on charges of murder and embezzlement. Upon hearing that, Na-jun became furious over this decision and was finally arrested by the authorities. At the end of the series, Yi Soo returns to school and meets his friends, including Balhae, who has forgiven him. Now, he no longer needs to hide that he is the new president-director. Balhae jokes that Yi Soo will lose his position if he doesn't pass his exams. Yi Soo also grows closer to Hwang, who always guides him. Yi Soo often complains about the school's poor facilities, but when Hwang rejects his ideas, Yi Soo jokes that he will fire Hwang after he graduates. The series ends. The moral lesson from this series is being a secret school president with ninja moves won't save you from bad grades. And remember, never trust a karaoke invite from your enemies.